In 2009, I had a failed suicide attempt. Didn't plan it out very well, just was something I did. Pressure was too much. My coping skills were at an end. And just something happened that was just over the top. It didn't take much, but it was just over the top. And that day I decided to end my life.
According to the Department of Veteran Affairs, 20 veterans a day will take their own life. This equals 7,300 lives per year. According to the Department of Defense, the casualty rate in combat is 1.5 lives per day. Veterans are 14 times more likely to die from suicide here at home, due in part to post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. Today I want to talk to you about veterans with PTSD and service dogs, and the beauty that transpires when these two worlds collide. I've been a professional dog trainer for over 25 years with a long, successful career. Everything from training thousands of pet dogs, working with and helping train police dogs, to competing internationally in a protection sport. And all of my experience in the dog training world did not prepare me for what I would learn and experience when a veteran walked through my door looking for help. He wanted his personal dog, Sammy, to be trained to be his service dog. The fact that he was a veteran got my immediate attention. My dad taught me to believe in God, family, and country. And when you're in the presence of a veteran, you're in the presence of a hero, even though he never considered himself one. So I listened to this American hero tell me about how and why he felt he needed her to be a service dog. He talked about his many deployments, about the friends he'd lost in battle, and about the friends he had lost here at home to suicide. He talked about his isolation, his fear, his nightmares, his self-medicating, and his hypervigilance. My dad taught me that freedom wasn't free, but I had no idea what that truly meant. I still don't. What I do know was that this veteran was still paying a price for my freedom, coping with invisible wounds of war that no one could see, but that were completely debilitating. So I took his yellow lab, Sammy, and I trained her to be a service dog. And it was when the training phase started with this American hero and his dog that I saw a beauty in the human-dog relationship that I had never seen before in my professional career. I watched as this handler found courage inside himself to lead his dog places he was afraid to go alone. And I saw Sammy be able to sense his anxieties and interrupt his flashbacks, bringing comfort and strength into a moment that might otherwise lead to fight or flight. With all that I'd accomplished in the dog world, this experience to me was truly profound. I'd observed the dog provide support far beyond what its training alone would provide. This set me on a path of discovery while helping others that has led me here today. I founded a nonprofit organization called Northwest Battle Buddies, where we provide service dogs to combat veterans with PTSD free of charge. PTSD and dogs. What is it about that combination that is so powerful? To help find the answer, we have to look at where the dogs came from. Our relationship with dogs goes back hundreds of thousands of years. Wolves and early human fossils have been found close together from as far back as 400,000 years. They roam the landscape in tandem, hunting big game, and it is believed the wolves hung around the campsite scavenging leftovers. A mutually beneficial relationship developed over time, and quickly the less threatening wolves found their way into our hearts. A union was born and the process of domestication began. Through selective breeding over thousands of years, the aggression and adrenaline gene has been minimized in the wolf, leaving us with domestic dogs that are quite puppy-like. When we look at present-day dogs, we don't often think about how or where they came from. We just enjoy the value they add to our life. However, of the thousands upon thousands of mitochondrial DNA extracted from domestic dogs, every single one of them looks just like the gray wolf. Wolves and dogs are 99.8% identical. We know that dogs can hear and see far beyond what our human senses are capable of. However, what we may not think about is their ability to sense what is not seen or heard. Dogs have as many as 300 million olfactory receptors, also known as odorant receptors, while humans have only 6 million. And the area of the brain devoted to analyzing odor is about 40 times larger than the human brain. Much like a medical alert dog detecting epileptic seizures, or a diabetic alert dog detecting high and low blood sugar, PTSD service dogs are alerting on adrenaline when veterans are experiencing anxiety or fear. Often the dogs will alert on these chemical changes and interrupt these moments. Often our veterans will share how the dogs woke them up from nightmares or helped stop a panic attack by licking their face or nuzzling them to get their attention. All of these attributes combined make the dog an invaluable partner to a veteran with PTSD. We can look even further into what makes the bond between the human and the dog so significant. Some scientists believe our interaction has a biochemical signature, that oxytocin plays a significant role. Studies show that both dog and human have oxytocin peaks within minutes of a petting session. Oxytocin can have a powerful effect. It lowers the heart rate and blood pressure and may also lead to reduced levels of stress. As amazing as the dog's natural attributes may be, nature's design is not enough to make them a service dog. We train our dogs for 7 months professionally before they even meet their veteran. This equals 360 hours of training, and we train the dogs everywhere you can think to go. We go to malls, grocery stores, airport security, movie theaters, churches, public transportation, and we even walk in parades. The dogs are then specifically matched with their handler, and together they train for another 6 weeks, which equals 120 hours of training. Upon passing testing, they are a qualified service dog team and gifted their service dog. Professional training, combined with a dog's accelerated senses and instinct, make a perfect life-changing gift to a veteran with PTSD. In the past few years, we've provided over 100 service dogs to our American heroes free of charge. I've had the privilege of sharing stories of how these amazing animals have made a difference in their lives. I'd like to share a video and have you hear from one of our Northwest Battle Buddies teams personally. Here's the rest of his story.
I'm a husband. My wife's a wonderful woman. I have 4 children who are adults now. I have 3 grandchildren. It just wasn't enough to overcome my demons. So fast forward through several months of Battle Buddies working with me and being very patient with me and kind and supportive, I was matched up with Flame. Going through the training with her and seeing her every day of my life, getting up, going out to the facility to work with her. I didn't realize how much of a blessing she was, how much difference she made in my life. Until one day I was standing in the shower and I started to have my thoughts of suicide. Now at that time I didn't realize it had been several days since I'd had those thoughts. That came to me later. But I was standing in the shower and she was home with me. And she started whimpering and sticking her head in the shower. And she got my attention. And I asked her what was wrong, what was up. And next thing I knew, I was petting her and talking to her, and I wasn't thinking about suicide anymore. And that's what Flame's done for me. She helps me get out of my head when I need to. She helps ground me in the now. I don't know how she does it. She's a very obedient dog. She's been very well trained. She's very cooperative. She's a wonderful companion. But beyond that, she seems to be able to sense when I'm getting spun up. She can sense when I'm getting agitated, even before I voice it, even before I realize it myself sometimes. If I'm sitting on the couch or on my chair at home and I start getting wound up, she'll come and put her head on my lap, or she'll whimper at me, or she'll climb on the couch up next to me and lick my face. If I'm in the car in traffic and start to get spun up, because Lord knows we all get spun up a little bit in traffic, she'll lean forward and she'll, from the back seat, she always rides in the back, and she leans forward and lick my ear, or put her nose on my shoulder. And it just breaks that cycle of self-destructive thoughts, gets me out of my head and into the now and what's important, which is making sure she's okay, in ways that are untrained and non-teachable. She is teaching me to stay in the now, to stay in the moment, and relieving me of those pressures of having to think about what comes next. And that's the biggest thing she's done for me.
Gordon is one success story. There are 20 men and women who are dying every day. These are a people who have experienced trauma sustained while fighting on our behalf. These are fathers, mothers, brothers, sisters, sons and daughters. Today, 20 families will be planning funerals, loved ones whose lives are changed forever. I'm here to tell their story. Due to the lack of funding, awareness, and understanding, we have a mental health crisis afflicting our American heroes. In the beginning of my talk, I asked the question, PTSD and dogs, what makes that combination so powerful? Our service dogs are changing lives, but we have to do more. 7,300 veterans are committing suicide every year. We as a people have to find a way to make a difference. 100% of us have benefited from the sacrifice of our veterans. Because of them, we live free. They deserve better.